County Supervisor Mark Nelson has announced his bid to retain his seat on the county board. For the past year, Nelson has served as District 3's representative on the Woodbury County Board of Supervisors. Nelson was appointed to the board in January of 2023 to fill Rocky DeWitt's seat after he was elected to the Iowa Senate. Nelson says he has the endorsement of Woodbury County's current sheriff, Chad Sheehan, as well as the county's former sheriff, Dave Drew. Nelson also boasts the backing of the current members of the county board and mayors of 6 towns in Woodbury County.
As someone who was appointed to this job, it was an opportunity, but I was not elected by the people. And so I felt that I had to work twice as hard to show people that I deserve to be here and that I deserve to run again. And so to have those kinds of people come out and you know, in support of me and back me, it really does mean a lot. And I think it shows that I'm doing a good job and I'm going to continue to work hard.
If a primary election is needed, Nelson will be on the ballot June 4th. The general election, by the way, is November 5th.